hit the ground running.
We can get going and then they can join us for like the meaty parts, hopefully. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first CSTA Iowa general meeting of the school year. Yay! We're so excited to have you here. And if you are returning from last year and joined any of the virtual meetings, thank you. Thank you for coming back, sticking with us. And if you're new, welcome as well. So our leadership team this year decided that we're going to have a theme kind of running through all of the sessions this year. And sometimes, like we did last year, we'll have panels of teachers or people in Iowa that will be talking about things. We'll do breakout rooms. Sometimes we'll have maybe like vendors coming and talking or something like that. But it'll all tie back to, or we'll ask you to think about how it would relate to equity and inclusion in your classroom. So our theme this year is around equity and inclusion, which is also a theme for CSTA National. And I'm going to start off by saying, like, none of us are experts. We are all on this journey together. And so what we've prepared today is really kind of a way to guide you through thinking about what you might want to focus on this year, sharing some resources, and just knowing that this is work that we can do as a group to share. So I'm going to share my screen and have Ren introduce herself while I get that up, if you would.
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Ren Hoffman. I am the script implementation manager at CS for All, a new position for me. So for some of you, you're like, what? Yeah, so I used to be with the department and had a little change-a-rama there. But I'm glad to see all your faces this evening and excited to talk to you about equity and inclusion in computer science. And Samantha, before you get started, are we going to post the, can I post the link in the chat?
Yes, that would be wonderful. Okay. If you want to be the linky person, that would be very helpful.
I am the linky person.
And I'm Samantha Dalby. I'm the director of K-12 education with New Boco, a nonprofit based in Cedar Rapids. And Ren and I both serve on the CSTA Iowa leadership team, kind of as like community representatives. So we aren't in a classroom, but we work with people in classrooms. We are very supportive and advocate for computer science in Iowa and beyond. So we are excited to kick this off. So to get started, we actually have this Jamboard, if you could share that link too as well. And we're going to start off, and this is all anonymous, but we would like you to spend some time to think first about a time where you felt out of place or you felt like an outsider. Just think about the feelings that you had. We're going to give you 30 seconds to think. All right, so if you would please share just one word or a phrase about how you felt when you were out of place or like an outsider in that first slide. All right, so we're seeing anxious, alone, awkward, uneasy, unwelcome, uncomfortable, nervous, all of those like yucky words, lonely. Right, so nothing good, right? Another anxious, conscious, that's a good one. All right, thank you for sharing that. Starting off being vulnerable tonight. All right, and then to kind of balance that, Oh yay, computer is tired as well. Now we want you to take 20 seconds or 30 seconds again to think of a specific time where you felt included or you felt like you belonged. Okay, so think about like the positive side. When did you feel welcome? All right, so let's do the same. So on slide 2 of the Jamboard, please share a word or phrase about how you felt in that situation. All right, supported, accepted, excited, comfortable, empowered, ooh, relieved, wonderful, comfortable. These are like, I can physically feel like the other one, I was like, oh, like feeling gross. And now I'm like, yay, I'm glad we did it in this order. And just feeling a lot better, right? So those are some things like if we think about our own experiences of how we felt in different situations and which one would we rather have for our students in our classes, right? The one where they feel welcome, they don't feel like an outsider, they feel like they belong there, they feel safe and happy, excited, accepted, ooh, I like peaceful, all of those, right? So like kind of obvious, but if you think about those situations that you've been in, we want to reflect that in our own classrooms, right? So when we think about it, you've probably seen cartoons like this before, right? Ren and I chose to do this one because it has the extra examples of like liberation and inclusion, those. So the equality where everyone has exactly the same, the equity where everyone's kind of getting what they need, liberation, they're free from that, but then inclusion, they're part of the game, they're part of the team, right? So if we think about those kind of different definitions and what that would apply to in our classroom, what might that look like if we have equity in our computer science classrooms? Any ideas, anything you can think of that you would share?
Maybe when we allow students in code.org to do either block-based coding or text coding.
Sure. Yep. So allowing them to choose which format they're completing a project in. Yep.
I would say for me, for 2 different examples is 1 or 3, I guess, using pictures to allow for making sure like all students know how to do it if they can't see. Or also what I've had in the past is making sure that our platforms are accessible in different languages. And then also not only that, but every building having a similar set of materials. So it's not just one building has more than the other. So equitable materials across all buildings.
Yeah, that's a great point too. Like the not having one school have things and others don't have the resources. That can be kind of tricky based on like different funding, different years, right? Building up programs. Yeah, I love those examples. And now what about the inclusion piece? How can we in our classrooms support the students feeling included and feeling a part of that class instead of just as like a participant or observer or just, you know, someone else in the classroom? This one's a little bit harder for me to think about.
Well, to share one of the examples of a high school teacher shared with me yesterday, it was he had a class of all males, and so being able to see other, if I was a female in a computer science room, to have another female that I could also, then I would feel included. I would feel inclusion with other people that are like me.
Mhm. Yep. So having someone else that's maybe has something that you can recognize as similar to yourself. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's more of a reflection, something I maybe need to do more, but like I'm in the elementary, I teach K-5 computer science, and kids love to share like out what they have done. And I think that if I could figure out a way to kind of make it so that every kid could share out something, like whether or not they were, I mean, the loud ones are going to share whatever, but like even the quiet ones in the back had that opportunity to show what they've made or done, or the program they've created, or the typing that they've done. That might make them all feel a little bit more like they've been included in that team, that class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oftentimes we talk about, and students have different personalities. Some of them are comfortable sharing within the whole group. I think that maybe if we paint the like broad brushstrokes, young kids maybe less self-conscious of themselves. But some of them are more chatty or willing to talk in the whole group, and some of them are more comfortable thinking for quite a long time first, and maybe writing things down. Some people use the strategy of think, pair, share, so they have that time to reflect. They talk in a small group, so they have that small conversation and feel heard there. And then some of them share out with the whole group. So it's kind of that approach. But you could certainly do different things where they're sharing their thoughts in a different medium, or doing sticky notes, drawing pictures, and then kind of like looking for themes that along those lines.
I think, Samantha, can also look like your instructional materials. So I think about like Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. So making sure if we're going to be learning a topic, I have a material that is written, maybe a video, maybe an audio file, and then like you're saying, a collaborative structure, so that kids have some choice and can enter into the content in a way that they're most comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's especially important in computer science, because if a student isn't a super confident reader, but they might be really good at computational thinking, it gives those kids an entry point, and they don't feel outed by their peers or by their teacher because maybe they're not a strong reader, for example.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One other piece might also be how is the work done? Are they able to work together collaboratively? And so they have that teamwork built in. Is it having this is coming from my software days, but like mob programming, which is not the best term. We need a better term, but where the whole class is doing it together, and like there's one person that is typing and it's projected on the screen, and everyone else in the class is sharing ideas, and they maybe even like kind of go around the room and everyone gets a chance to share an idea of how to do the next step. And so it's a group effort, and they're kind of bouncing ideas off of each other that way. So it's almost like replicating a baseball team or a sports team, where they're all doing it together to practice, and then they might have other individual things. So again, we don't have all the answers, but here's some things that you can think about, like what are things that you can provide the equity piece and that inclusion piece throughout the year. And our goal in this session is really to think about that. And I always like to do like the one thing, we'll get into this in just a minute too, like think of one thing that throughout the year to focus on. Oh, and I'm getting to the chat here. So Sarah said, working groups have the atmosphere of students helping students. Excellent. Yes. Yes, we can all work together and have that collaboration piece. So CSTA defines this, and I think it is on the CS Teaching Standards page, where they define marginalized groups as traditionally underrepresented in computer science, that women, non-binary people, Indigenous and Native peoples, Black peoples, Latinx, English language learners, students with disabilities, students from low socioeconomic backgrounds, students who live in urban and rural areas, migrant students, and students who identify as LGBTQ+, and then students who are or were incarcerated. So that's like a big, long list that they include in that definition, which I love, because oftentimes I think I'm seeing this getting better and easier, but we think of just gender and ethnicity or race, right? Those are the equity and inclusion pieces, but there's a lot of backgrounds, things that you can see and some things you can't see that we need to take into account with all of our students. So this is all in their definition and what we should ideally be working towards when we think about the equity and inclusion piece. So for this this session, and then also kind of like I mentioned throughout the year, what we're going to be doing is reflecting on what you can bring to your classroom or your situation, whatever that is with computer science, to be equitable and inclusive. And that one thing we were talking about is just identifying one thing to work on this year. So that's something that can be personal to you, a growth area that you want to work on. Maybe it's something that someone else sparks an idea about. Maybe it's when we go into the resource sharing, something that stands out to you, whatever you think that is. And it can, it may seem small to you, but I always like to take bite-sized chunks. Educators have a lot on their plate. So whatever seems realistic, set your realistic goals for this year. And we're going to be recording this anonymously in the Jamboard and then kind of visiting this throughout the year. So even people that weren't here this year may look at what you are all sharing so that they can see what others are working on. And then you can also revisit this and kind of remind you. And it's, again, that collaborative piece of, so you can see we're all kind of doing this together. And then each time we meet virtually, we happen to have 5 virtual sessions planned this year. And there are 5 indicators under the CSTA Equity and Inclusion CS teacher standard. So that worked out perfectly. So each time we're just going to have you at the end reflect on that indicator as just part of our routine. And you may not know this yet, but anytime we do something, please feel free to give feedback, because all of the stuff we want to do and provide should be helping you guys. So if it's not hitting the mark, feel free to let us know. All right, so we're going to be jumping into kind of the meat of this. So we intended to share this out earlier, and we have good intentions, and it just didn't happen, but it still works because we planned for if people didn't do it, we would have options, and no one did it because we didn't share it out. But what we would like you to do is go to the Equity Fellows page, which we'll link in the chat, and we're going to put you into breakout groups. And these videos are shared, and they're, I think the longest ones are about 3 minutes. We'd like you to pick at least one video and then mute yourself in the breakout rooms to watch that video, and then let the others in your room know when you're done, and then share which video you watched. What did you take away from the video? And then when we come back, we'll kind of just share highlights from that discussion. So again, we're going to go to that Equity Fellow page that Ren just linked, pick one of the videos, discuss it in your small group, and then kind of bring back a highlight when we come back together. Are there any questions about the activity?
How long Samantha, are we doing?
Yeah, I think we are doing good on time. So if we can do 15 minutes in the breakout room so that people have enough time to watch the video and then chat about it, that sound good? Excellent.
Samantha, I use my cards all the time. When I'm on a Zoom, I love getting these things out.
Aren't they fun?
They are. It breaks up that Zoom exhaustion. So
It does. Good. I'm glad you like them.
Where did you get those cards?
I think it's called like DigiCards, but you can also find just like, I think there are a bunch on like Etsy and stuff too. Yeah, DigiCards. And I think on, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think they have different options. There's like a corporate version, a teacher version, and like a student version. So they all kind of have like slightly different ones and pictures and stuff, but they're fun. All right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for going and hanging out in some cool rooms. So let's kind of do our share outs. We talked about this before. We talked individually. We had our own little individual time, talked, and coming back now as a big group. Let's share out some of the discussions in your rooms and like highlights. Is there a room that would like to go first? How many rooms were there? 4. Okay. Any volunteers? How about room 3? No? No room 3?
I don't know what room we were in.
All right, do you want to go?
Marissa's room gets to go.
We talked about, we all actually, or I think we watched between the 4 of us 3 different videos. We talked about how some of them were just kind of a pep talk about it, and so it might be good things for to share with our, like, at least in my position, like good ones to share with our districts around learning for this. But then also though some of them had opportunities for other ideas for inclusion. I don't really remember, but I was listening. We actually had another conversation around like the females in there and like more of the elementary teachers who are possibly teaching stereotypically some of the elementary teachers are female, and so if they were using if they were doing some computer science, that younger females, the earlier we can expose them to computer science, the more they can be interested in it, and that those teachers are typically the female teachers, and so having them have those role models in their classroom that they can be teachers but also speak some computer science language too.
Great, thanks for sharing. All right, let's go with room 2.
I don't know our room number either, but we had a good conversation about just the power of being able to follow your students' lead and have comfort in that, of looking at what the students are looking for, and then just being able to embrace that and think about your programming. And then we also switched gears to the power of having female and females teaching, and just what a good role model and outlet that can be for our students. Chris and Corey and Bridget, feel free to add more.
Great, thanks for sharing. Would someone from room 1 like to share what we talked about?
I will volunteer to be room 1 because I wasn't.
Go for it, Dan.
I kind of got an interesting conversation, I think, with Jason there at the end, and made me realize, like, so the website that you took us to, how actually, like, it's important for me to reach out and to like purposely try and get that different perspective. I'm a white male, but I teach in a mostly white district. And so it's good to like go out and that website full of those videos to hear all the different stories from other groups. Keeps me kind of grounded and keeps that perspective in mind. And then also thinking about, like, I mean, I got elementary kids, but it also is that idea of making sure that even though we're in this very white community that I'm in currently, how are ways that I could also show the outside world to my students, because I still do have, under represented populations. And so I need to make sure that I'm still showing that to them and making sure that they understand that it's more than just Carlisle out there. There's a big world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that thought and process, because I think that's hugely important. There's one aspect of students seeing themselves in it, but then also being able to see others. And if we don't have whatever that other is, in their classroom or school or community, then providing them peeks into that is like crucial for them, because someday they're going to be working with people probably all over the world. All right, I think one more room. Final room share out.
I guess that was our room, wasn't it? And so the first thing we talked about in our room is that clearly some of us aren't very observant, and that there are actually 3 pages of videos here. So if you didn't realize there's more than just the 8 on that page, there's 2 more pages. I'll admit my stupidity. I didn't notice until I went looking for the video that Ren said she watched, and I said, "Where is that?" So one of the things, though, that we were looking at was talking about, well, one of the things that I'm interested in, we watched several different videos. All 4 of us watched different videos. And when I was listening to Rochella describe the video she watched about modeling vulnerability and admitting what you don't know everything as a teacher, and then I was watching one about struggling and how you move that to success. And I was telling the group that working with pre-service teachers this year, one of the things I'm working on them with is when they watch things like that, looking for what are the underlying connections that aren't spoken in these 2 or 3 different videos. And so we got talking about, what's sort of that underlying, what wasn't necessarily said out loud in some of the videos, but when you look at what the commonality is, that this idea of admitting to your students that, you struggle too. You came into this through the back door, many of you too. And that feeling of being out of place and struggling is not actually that uncommon, and that in fact, learning how to focus that empowering, learning how to focus that struggle to learn around it actually becomes powerful.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you all for sharing that. The conversations in our room were really great, and I appreciate hearing a little bit about what happened in your rooms. One other comment that came up is, well, now that like everyone shared stuff, now I have to go watch all of them. So maybe like one of the things you want to do this year is, once a week, go visit this website and get different perspectives. And maybe some of them have tips, or they share experiences that they ran into and what they did. And maybe that's one of those things that you would do to kind of grow your own knowledge and experience. Could be as simple as that. All right, so now we're going to go into some resources. Again, like we're not the experts, we're just kind of on the journey with you guys. And these are just a few of the resources out there. And we try to kind of pick different categories and highlight some of the strengths that we saw within them. So the first one is NCWIT, the National Center for Women in Information Technology. And anyone familiar? Heard of that? Hopefully, no? Okay, cool. You've heard of it now. Some of the strengths that I see from that site, and they have a lot of things, so this is not exhaustive either. They have a lot of different programs. So I think there's a program section you could go look under. So Counselors for Computing, they have aspirations in computing or IT or something that's like to support girls in computer science. So if you have high school girls, applications are currently open. You might want to look into that program. So they used to have a program called Tecnolochicas, and now I notice they have an umbrella category called Color of Our Future that you might want to check under. And then they also do research. So they have some research posted as well. The next one is the Kapor Center. That one I view, correct me if I'm wrong if anyone knows, but I view them mostly as like a research center. They publish lots of different research papers, and they've been highlighted the last couple of years on some studies that they've done as well. So if you are one of those research people and you like to know stats and data and those kind of things, you might want to check out NCWIT or Kapor. And then the last one is more, I see kind of like as actionable items, things that like the tips. So CS Teaching Tips. This is Harvey Mudd. They've got great things that you can use. And they have kind of cards of like top 10 things of suggestions. There are lots of different ones on there, but we're kind of pointing you to the reducing bias, inclusivity, and recruitment ones for like a quick check. So what we would like you to do now is just take a really quick 5 minutes, pick one or more of these and click on the link and just kind of look around, poke around and see what they have to offer. And you don't have to do like a in-depth research on them now, but this is kind of to get you thinking about what you want to do this year and what you might want to go back to and resources that are available to you. All right, and Ben is sharing, NC Wit had a great resource called Engage CS EDU. Oh, okay, it got moved to ACM. Cool, thank you for sharing that. All right, any questions about what we're doing now? Good, cool. All right, the fastest research ever. Did anyone even get like a page loaded? Anyone have any slow internet allowing them to not get it up? So let's just take a real quick minute here to share with the group if you found anything like struck your fancy, something that you're thinking you might look into, or another thing. We've got some great stuff that has been shared in the chat with links to. Anything to share out?
I jumped onto the framework link that was shared from before and looking at the 6 components, and was kind of like really drawn into there was a student voice component, and there was a family connection component, which I think I know for myself, like computers weren't a thing growing up for myself, and different things. So families may not have that, they want their students to have it, but they don't have the knowledge. So how do we help them get that knowledge?
Awesome. And Corey shared in the chat. CS Equity Guide wants to check out to use in Teacher CSPD. Nice. Yes. Thank you for sharing that as well. Yeah, so this is like one of those things where there's like a mountain of resources. So please don't stop with anything here. And as you find things, please feel free to share it with the group throughout the year, because this is, helping everyone kind of grow and learn as well, because there's tons of research happening, new resources being shared all the time. And it's a wonderful time to be around. All right, so we are running into the wrap up time because it has been a fast and furious evening. So this is where we're going to reflect on that first indicator. So this first one, anyone have like tired eyes? I will read it out loud. But 2A is to examine issues of equity in CS, and we can share a link to this as well. There's the CS Teaching Standards page. So examining issues of equity in CS. So that's what we want you to reflect on for this particular session. And the suggestion here is examine how systemic barriers and social and psychological factors contribute to inequitable access, engagement, and achievement in CS among marginalized groups. So remember our definition from earlier, and reflect on how issues of equity manifest in your own CS teaching context. Thank you, Ren, for sharing that link. Okay, so we just want you to think about that indicator for a hot minute. And then in our Jamboard on slide 3, this is where you can share our reflections, some thoughts that you have related to where issues of equity manifest in your own CS teaching context. I see lots of furrowed brows. Anyone want to share something around equity issues that they experience or might be in their schools or other situations? Now we've got some PD things.
Hey, Samantha.
Mhm.
All of the resources that were shared in the chat, and they're going to be, I mean, I'm like rushing to like, for us, those links are somewhere else. Are we going to house them somewhere, I guess?
Sorry, you're kind of breaking up, Marissa. Were you asking
Sorry.
about being able to access the links that were shared?
Oh, in the chat too. I was trying to get them all. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we'll make sure that the stuff like to the equity fellows and the ones that were shared by participants, we'll collect those, and we can have like a slide at the end that will link them all in. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Yep.
Such good things. I don't want to lose them.
Yep. All right, we've got stuff coming in now. Oh, I see a good one here. I mean, they're all good, but students that may struggle are often removed from participating in CS as a punishment. Oh, breaks my heart, but it's true. Yes, we were talking in our breakout group about how oftentimes students that are seen as like the problem or like the not good students, or the kids that are just kind of there and they need help or whatever, they can really shine in computer science because there's so many different ways to demonstrate your knowledge and so many different aspects to it. And so when that's taken away, it's almost like a double-edged dagger twice. Oh, I got a yes, a couple of yeses. Love it. Yeah, the scheduling conflicts. Yeah. I've heard, oftentimes they'll get scheduled like opposite a class that, like one particular demographic of students or something really goes to. Like, I think sometime a teacher shared like there's a dance class that a lot of the girls signed up for, and computer science was the other option. So it's like, how can I recruit more girls if it's like this other class that's like also really attractive to female students? Yeah, not just for gifted students or an after-school club. Excellent. All right, thank you for thinking through that. We're kind of getting like ending with the deep stuff. Oh, and I just linked myself here. All right, and then the one thing we want you to do, so the last slide in the Jamboard, if you haven't already, hop to that one, and then we'd like you to think about just identify one thing you'd like to work on this year, to deepen your knowledge, your understanding, dive into a specific aspect of equity and or inclusion, something that's going to help you improve or your classroom improve. So really like whatever is attainable to you. And we'll keep revisiting this and have people kind of add to it throughout the year. Really, I'm like loving the stuff you guys are putting here. I appreciate it, because I think this will also help us on things that we can bring to the group as well. Like hearing stories about how people experience systemic barriers so that you can learn to recognize them. Sometimes it's like that, if you almost like the opposite of, if you don't see it, you can't be it. But if you don't experience it, you don't identify it, right? It's just something that doesn't impact you. So how can you know that it's a problem? And being able to call that out, definitely. Student recruitment, awesome. Total participation techniques, woohoo. Awesome, thank you all for doing that, and feel free, if you're still typing, feel free to do that. We are running out of time. We planned for 45 minutes because we knew that we would go long, right, Ren? We talked about this, so thank you all for making it happen. So we are going to wrap it up by pointing out some things to keep on learning. So there is a CS Learning series coming up. Oh no, that's the credit piece, right? Yes, so Allison and Corey have put together the opportunity for you to earn credit for participating in CSTA Iowa events or CSTA national events as well. So would one of you like to talk about the requirements for that?
Yep. So for $85, you too can get a license renewal credit. I don't know about you. I struggle to get them because there aren't a ton of computer science offerings. So Alice and I have worked it out where by attending meetings like tonight's meeting, attending things like the CSTA Cultivating a Community of Learners Summit on Saturday, you fill out a Google form with a quick reflection and some action steps, and you have to go to 15 hours worth of things. There's an hour-long introduction that'll be on October 20th. You can count tonight's meeting, but you need to do that. And then you can get yourself a license renewal credit with our only participant so far, Mr. Dan Carver. Is he still on the call? I don't know if Dan is still here, but we would love to have you join us. And, oh, there he is.
Celebrating.
Yes,
License
awesome.
renewal.
Thank you.
License
Yep.
will
So
be renewed.
Dan is doing it. All of our events are free, but the summits have a fee. But special for those of you attending live tonight, can you go back just for a second? Special to those attending tonight, Ben Schaefer is presenting at the summit, and Ben still has some free registrations. Ben, do you want to speak to that?
I just put the link to the Fall Summit in the chat. And if you look carefully there, there's an overview schedule. The summit is Saturday. I'm a speaker, and we arranged to get some scholarships as thanks for speaking. And I've still got 5 scholarships. Dan and Wendy, I know are using up a couple of them, but I've still got a couple more. You got to be registered by noon tomorrow. So I will put my email address in the chat. Please don't ask for a scholarship if you don't actually think you're going to use it. But if you think you could attend, there's 2 keynotes, one at 10 o'clock in the morning, one right before the thing closes at 4, and 3 breakout sessions with a variety of things to choose from in between. And if you think you have time on Saturday and want to use one of my scholarship credits, be happy to give you information on how to get it.
Thanks, Ben. And then by being here tonight and going Saturday, you would have 6.5 of the required 15 hours. So guys, we're getting a license renewal credit before December. I mean, come on. And then do you want to go to the next one really quick, Samantha, our next chapter meeting is November 18th at 7 p.m. Registration's not on the website yet because Corey's to-do list is way too long. I will have it up there hopefully in the next few days. The other thing that we're really excited about is Midwest is Best is a collection of CSTA chapters like ours in the Midwest. We have the best name, obviously. And we are planning to have our first annual Midwest is Best Computer Science Ed Unconference. It'll be like it just left my head. Somebody help me. There's another name for them.
Ed Camp.
Thank you, an Ed Camp. Thank you, Marissa. It's like an Ed Camp. It'll be on Hopin. I'm not sure if Jason is still on, but Jason that works at CSTA is going to help us run all that. And we are thrilled. So we'll have some anchor sessions, and then you come with things you want to talk about. It's really informal, and it would be a way for us to network with other computer science teachers in the Midwest to hear about what they're doing, for you to share the awesome stuff you're doing, and to network. So save the date. It's Saturday, March 5th. From 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Time. You can ask Jason how Corey couldn't do the time change for Eastern. For our friends that are in the Eastern, it was real embarrassing, friends. But save the date because we would love to have you be there, and we'll let you know more once we know more. But we have a date and times and want to start spreading the word. So thanks, Samantha. I'm going to give it back to you.
I'm going to chime in, Samantha, before you close out. I added, if you refresh your slides, I added the 3 links that were added in the chat session. So they are before the slides you just saw, but the 3 links are in there. So I think I didn't screw it up. They're in there. I might have screwed up where the location is, but they're in there.
It'll be like a scavenger hunt. All right. Well, thank you all for spending an extra 4 minutes with us. Like we said, this is a big topic. We know that it shouldn't be taken lightly, but we wanted you to at least start the journey and think about that, and then come back and visit us every month pretty much. And we'll keep reflecting on these things throughout the year, sharing our successes, sharing our failures, sharing ideas, resources, all of those things, and just keep getting better day by day. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you at the next meetup.